Return to Moria is the latest addition to the survival game genre, and like all survival games, comes with a unique learning curve. Hello, my name is Midgeman, a content creator who normally specializes in strategy games, but today, I dug too deeply, so you don't have to. At the time of writing this, I have around 30 hours in-game, and here are 5 things I wish I knew before braving the long dark and delving into the ancient halls beneath the Misty Mountains. Be warned, there may be some visual spoilers for some of the areas in this game, but without further ado, let's get into my top 5 tips that I wish I knew before playing Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. Each tip will be time-stamped so you can jump around if necessary. Tip 1. All floors can and should be built first. Okay, bear with me, but playing from day 1, it took us around 15 hours in-game to even realize this was a thing. Mapping out your builds using floor tiles first will allow you to align your builds to a grid. This is especially important when you are creating multi-hearth structures where the overlapping build zones may cause snapping issues. I especially recommend placing floors, even if you intend to utilize existing structures such as ancient forges. It'll save you a lot of headache in your builds. Additionally, placing more structurally sound flooring over the quick platforms can help you traverse Moria far more safely than the OSHA violations that quick platforms can cause. Rope ladders are also placeable without the use of a hearth and useful for this manner. Tip 2. Resources are limited. This was a huge eye-opener for me and my community, and caused some issues in our game. Whilst stone, ore, and granite might be in abundance throughout the game, there are some very important resources that are far more limited. Resources such as black diamonds and elven wood are required in a lot of item and structural constructions, with black diamonds being one of the most important of the entire game, with them being tied to both the fast travel system as well as progression. This is especially important to keep track of in multiplayer rather than single player, as the map's resources are only scaled for one dwarf, and the more players you have, the more you'll have to ration. We actually ran out of black diamonds, and it meant that we really struggled to progress the game, and we actually had to go and destroy previous structures that we'd built because, in fact, the items that we'd used them in aren't destroyable, leaving us with far more limited fast travel than smaller parties may have come across. There is, however, a slightly cheesy way around this, which brings me to tip 2.5, I guess, which is items and resources in your inventory can be brought between save games and worlds. Therefore, every dwarf in a multiplayer bar the host could technically go into their own Moria and strip it for resources for the good of the hold. Like some sort of evil conglomerate taking advantage of the working. Tip number 3. Bring a base level of supplies everywhere. When exploring the long dark of Moria, you need to be prepared to set up camp at any moment of your exploration. The power creep of the enemies in the deep can grow exponentially. So having enough supplies for you to build a hearth, equipment smithy, and meal table, as well as a few supplies to cook a little meal, will often save your life. Not to mention, as you explore, you will often come across old buildings and outposts you can upgrade to safe havens. Until the orcs destroy the building with you and your friends in it.
Right. They destroyed the building. They destroyed the building.
Tip number 4, light level, is a thing. This is something I didn't realize initially when setting up farming. But different crops are affected by different light levels. Not only that, but when placing planters or planting crops, the indicator that appears in the center of the screen denotes whether the planting location is in daylight or darkness. Therefore, when setting up a location to make your main base, be mindful to plan access to both light and dark regions or set up a farm elsewhere that does. Tip 5, one masterwork to rule them all. Finally, Masterworks. Masterworks are special items that you'll slowly discover throughout the game. I highly doubt I've even discovered them all as of yet, but there are some very unique quirks to them which can be very frustrating unless you find certain complementary items. First of all, you can only carry one masterwork at a time, and masterworks cannot be stored in chests, much like backpacks. Some masterworks can, however, be hung on wall hangers or decorative storage racks, which you unlock when you unlock Ironwood. This is, however, limited to tools and weapons. Sorry, Keg, you must forever live on the floor. Whilst there's too many individual pros and cons to the various Masterworks to cover in this single video, the most useful one we've discovered is the Quarry Master. Not only does it allow you to mine larger areas at once, but also it is unrestricted by the tiers, unlike the other tools and picks. We've gotten up to tier 4 tools, which we're finding are still limited in the amount of resources we can gather. However, the Quarry Master is still unrestricted. Let me know if you'd like to see a video diving into the game's various Masterwork items, as that's something we can surely cover. Tip 6. How on earth do I get Ironwood? Yes, I know I said this was going to be a top 5 video, but we have snuck a sneaky tip 6 into this video, as it's something that we were struggling with and we have since found out whilst this video has been in production. There are 2 ways that we found thus far to get Ironwood. First of all, destroying furniture in Darrowdale, the Dwarven city, seems to produce Ironwood on the regular. However, you can also enchant weapons once you have emeralds to be able to give you a small chance of getting Ironwood when cutting down trees. This gives you about a 1 in 10 chance of getting Ironwood when, say, cutting down Oberzarm wood. Very useful. Well, that's it. That's my top 5 tips I wish I knew before I dug too greedily and too deep into this game. Let me know in the comments down below what your top tip for Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is, as well as if you'd like to see more guides in the future. Furthermore, if you wanted to see my playthrough, check out the streams featured here. Good luck and happy mining.
Well, wasn't that fantastic if I do say so myself? Thank you so much for watching. Look, there's 2 more videos that have been chosen for you by the YouTube algorithm. I would give them a watch. I'd hate to piss off a robot after all. Anyway, thank you to my editor Foxy for editing this video, and if you want to find out more Midgeman stuff, make sure you hit the link description below. Bye-bye!